learning how to get access to capital through 0% interest business credit cards is the biggest hack in business that I have found, because you don't need the tax returns, the proof of income, and it becomes very straightforward to get approved for a couple $100,000. And it's like, even if you're a real estate investor or you're looking to scale your coaching business or your restaurant, whatever it is, like if you had $100,000 you can borrow for free for a year, how much quicker, how much more money can you make? How many more deals can you do? And so that's how I help people legally and ethically take advantage of the banks to get these types of credit products at limits like this.
All right, guys, welcome to another episode report. Today, I got someone back, a repeat guest, good friend of mine. He's back, not for the second time, but for the third time on this podcast. I got the king of debt in the building. I got my man, Jack McColl. What's up, Jack?
What's up, brother? Great to be back. We're going to be dropping some massive bangers in this episode, so definitely hang around.
Get ready, because it's coming. First thing first, man, I got to ask you, you got a couple fat stacks in your hands now. What do you got in these hands right here?
This is my main stack, and this is my side stack. And so just in the first...
How many credit cards?
This is a total of 50 credit cards. I have a total of 70 active right now, over 20 different banks, but this is my stack of 50.
And what do you do, Jack?
So I help people, entrepreneurs, legally and ethically take advantage of the banks as much as possible in terms of getting access to 0% interest business funding. So they can use that funding to start businesses or scale businesses or have additional capital for their different real estate deals.
I always say, if you want to win in this game of business, entrepreneurship, real estate investing, you have to learn the game of leverage. You have to learn it. If you don't understand leverage, you're never going to grow. And this is one of the number one forms of leverage out there is OPM, using the bank's money to make money.
100%. And you can go study at business school and they don't teach anything about business funding whatsoever. With 0% business credit cards, you can get approved for these types of credit products between 50 and 200,000 with no income verification, no tax returns. All you need to do is have good personal credit and build strategic bank relationships. So I teach people how exactly to do this, like early stage entrepreneurs, early stage real estate investors, where it's helpful for them to get $200,000 approved so they can have this money to scale their business. I help them do exactly that.
And you personally went from like zero business funding to $500,000 of business funding for yourself.
Correct.
In about 12 months time, correct?
Yeah, just over 1 year, I got approved for $500,000 of business credit on a brand new business. And I was able to do that by reverse engineering the underwriting process. I met with relationship managers and they told me everything that the underwriters were looking for. So I reverse engineered that process and custom built my personal credit profile to exactly what the underwriters wanted to see. And so if you fit that criteria, it becomes very easy to get approved for $100,000, $200,000 at 0% interest for 12 months. And so now I teach over 3,000 other entrepreneurs in my program on how to do exactly that.
I love it, man. We're going to be dropping so much game on business funding, 0% business credit, travel hacks. I cannot wait to dive in. But before we dive in, Jack, for the audience out there that is not aware and not familiar, there's a difference between personal credit and business credit. The biggest thing that stands out for me is business credit, for the most part, does not show up on my personal debt to income ratio and also on my credit report when it's pulled. So what are the main differences between business credit and personal credit?
Yeah, so that's what blew my mind. I was an entrepreneur for 7 years and I didn't even know about business credit cards. When I learned that these credit products don't report to your personal credit profile and you can get higher limits, it completely blew my mind. So you get approved for a $50,000 or $100,000 business credit card, you can utilize that full balance. And because the account doesn't report to your personal credit profile, your score remains unaffected. And so when you go get $75K from Chase, because that account doesn't report to your profile, you can then go to Bank of America and get another big limit because Bank of America can't see what Chase just lent you. And then you can go to American Express, and then you can go to US Bank, and that's how you credit stack up to $250,000, 0% for 12 to 18 months. It's an absolute game changer for newer stage entrepreneurs because you can do this, again, with no tax returns, no proof of income. All you need is a good, strong personal credit profile.
When we go buy hotels, we'll buy the hotels with an LLC, and the mortgages are to the LLC, not to my personal name. And so I have more than $35-40 million of real estate loans that don't show up on my personal debt to income ratio. If you pull my credit, you're not going to see those loans because they're to the LLC. Same thing with the business funding. So first things first, what is the key for someone listening to this? If they want to turn $5,000 into $500,000 of business funding, obviously being attractive to the banks, to the creditors is going to be number one. what is the first step they should be taking?
Yeah, it's going to be a two-part process. If you want to get approved for $300,000 in business credit, the first is going to be really customizing your personal credit profile. The second part is building strategic relationships with the right banks. So the right banks to build this relationship with is going to be Bank of America, Chase, Wells Fargo, and then building a credit relationship with American Express so they can trust you and approve you for more 0% when you apply for those cards. In terms of building a strong, customized personal credit profile, you do want to have several credit card accounts, but you don't want to apply for those too quickly. And so one of the most important things about your credit profile is you want to have collective personal credit limits
What does that
between
mean?
40,000 and 80,000.
Okay.
So if you add up all your credit limits on personal credit cards, that gives you your collective personal credit limits. So if your collective personal credit limits on personal cards is only 15,000, it's a pretty thin profile. It's a weak profile. So you want to have collective limits of between 40 and 80,000.
So I have like closer to 250 on personal.
Okay, so
Is that
actually
too high?
250K of personal credit is actually too high. I've
Really?
seen many
So
people.
that affects my score?
It doesn't exactly affect your score, but it can restrict you of getting approved for max funding cards at Chase.
Is it because it's just too much liability if I wanted to like leverage out, max them
Correct.
all out? It's like,
It's too much liability. So I think the most personal credit you want to have on collective personal limits is 100,000. And so for you, you're like, oh, I'm at 250,000. How do I get to 100? You know, it would be beneficial if you want max funding at Chase.
I see what you're saying. Okay. So speaking of max funding, you have a way to get max funding at BOFA, Bank of America. What is this process?
Yeah, so the best max funding strategy at Bank of America, and this is something I just developed a few months ago, is actually applying for several of their business credit cards at the same time and then consolidating those limits to one card. And before you do this, you want to build a banking relationship with Bank of America. You want to have a business checking account. You want to show them revenue for at least a 90-day period. And then when it comes to the applications, you can just do these online. You don't need a relationship manager at Bank of America like you do at Chase and some of the other banks. So you'd want to apply for the first business credit card at Bank of America, 0% for 9 months. Upon approval, apply for the second one. Upon approval, apply for the third one. Upon approval, then apply for the fourth one, which is a 0% for 7 months. Upon approval, apply for the fifth business credit card, which is actually the Alaska Airlines. It's not a 0% card, but because Bank of America allows you to move limits, we're going to move all the limits to one card. Now, Bank of America doesn't give a super high limit on a per card basis, but even if you get 10 to 15K per card, times that by 5, and then you call the rep and run a specific phone script and then consolidate to one card, now you have 50 to 75K, 0% for 9 months at Bank of America on one card.
That is a hack. Now, does this only work at BOFA or does this work with Chase and some of these other creditors?
So there are a few banks where you can actually move the credit limits between the cards. Bank of America is one of those banks. The second bank is Chase, allows you to move limits, and the third bank is going to be American Express. So why this is an absolute
American Express
for sure. So why this is a game changer is because if you get a $50,000 or even we'll call it a $20,000 business credit card, and that 0% after 12 months expires, then you can apply for another business credit card at that same bank, call it Chase or same example for American Express, and you get approved for only a $5,000 limit. Well, you can move the available credit of that existing card that you've already had over to that new card. And that new card is now 0% for 12 months. So you move that limit from the old card to the new card, and now you have a higher amount of brand new 0%. And you can do that the following year, and the following year, etc.
Now, if you have a balance and you want to maximize the 0%, you have a workaround. What is that workaround?
Yeah, so if you're not in a situation where you can pay that balance down by the end of the 12-month period, because again, you can only move available credit over to that new card. So
Not account balance.
correct, you can't move the balance over to a new card at that same bank. So if you can't pay the balance down, I've developed this brand new strategy is where you can pull from a business line of credit and then use that money to pay down the old card. And then you can apply for a new card at that same bank and then move that available credit to the new card. And then you can liquidate the business credit card to then pay off the business line of credit. And then if you need to do that again in another 12 months, you can do that same strategy. So this is how you get 0% for several years if you need to. So if you're going into a real estate deal, maybe you need the money for 3 years. This is exactly how you do 0% for 3 years.
That's so good. Now, back to the BOFA example. What is if you did this and hit this perfectly, card for card for card at 0% and then combined them, what is the max available credit you could secure at BOFA with this strategy at 0%?
So generally at Bank of America, they're really relationship based. So to get limits collectively of over 75,000, you really need to build that banking relationship. I personally have 78,000 at Bank of America, but I did it on 2 rounds of funding with them over just over a year. They're not the lowest hanging fruit, but they're definitely one of the better banks to get max funding at if you can show them business revenue. Chase, for example, is a bank where you can get very high limits, and I'm talking about 150,000 at 0% for 12 months over 2 cards without really even showing them revenue. Chase just wants to see you opening up a business checking account. If you can show them some liquidity in that account, show $10,000, $20,000 in that account for a 30-day period, then you apply through a business relationship manager at Chase, and that's how you can get 2 $75,000 cards at Chase. And I'll dive deeper on this as well. To get that max funding at Chase, it's better if you have 2 businesses applying for the credit. So instead of just applying for both of the business credit cards on the same business, you want to do business credit card 1 on business 1, business credit card 2 on business 2. The people who do that, and I have data over 3,000 people, the people who do that have a higher percent chance of getting that max $150,000.
So give me an example. When you say 2 businesses, is this 1 business credit card or is this 2 different business credit cards with Chase? Give me an example of what that would look like. So let's just say you got 2
Yep.
cash flowing entities.
Yep.
Okay.
They
and
don't
you
even
go and apply. Is this like 1 credit card under the 2 entities and it's just 2 different cards, or is it 2 separate credit card accounts?
This is going to be 2 different credit card accounts. So there's 2 0% cards at Chase. There's the Inc. Cash and the Inc. Unlimited, 0% for 12 months. So if you have 2 entities and they don't even need to be cash flowing, if they are,
You can literally just
and Chase
you
sees
can
that
just
revenue,
form an
it
LLC
helps.
with no revenue and just start it.
Correct.
Wow.
Because you can do this with no proof
And
of
you just
income.
need a checking account, a business checking account. with them.
Correct.
Damn.
The age will help. If you have 6 months of age, it will help the chance of getting approved for these max funding cards. But to your exact question, you would apply for the Inc. Cash on business 1 and then the Inc. Unlimited on business 2. So 2 different cards, 2 different businesses. That is the best way to get approved for that max funding of 150.
Question for you. So we have a few business cards. Amex Platinum, the business platinum, and then we have the Amex Business Gold. We also have one with Capital One, and we bank with First Citizens. So we have a couple business credit cards with First. Now, when you apply, they always ask you, how much do you plan to charge on a monthly basis within your business? How do you typically want to answer that in order to maximize your credit limit? Is it high, or do you want to go low, or somewhere moderate?
So what I'll say to that question about how to complete the business credit application on projected revenue, your personal income that you're realistically expected to make, and the estimated monthly spend, the key to these numbers, these are projections. It's not what did you make last year. These are projections for this year. And so each bank has a different criteria of the different projections that will have the outcome of high limits. So at American Express, they're a little bit more strict on if you project revenue super high, they may ask for proof of income. At Chase, the higher the projection, usually the better. And so to your exact question on what should you put for the estimated monthly spend, generally higher monthly spend correlates to getting approved for higher limits.
Got it. And if you put super high and they're like, hey, we can't approve that, they're going to give you the max they can approve you for anyways, right? So you might as well just shoot a little bit higher.
It's tough to say because at American Express, if you shoot too high, then they might ask for proof of income. But if you shoot too low, then they won't even approve you. And so like I have data over 5 years, over thousands of people. So I've been able to look at these correlations on a per bank basis. And I share those correlations with my group. I don't have American Express off the top of my head, but I do have this down to a science on a per bank and per card basis.
I love it. Okay, speaking of American Express, break down the difference between Business Amex Gold and Business Amex Platinum. Which one is better? What are the pros and cons of each?
Amex Business Platinum, I'm really not a fan of. I love the Amex Business Gold because I earn so many more points on the Business Gold. It is 4 points per dollar spent on the top 2 categories. The categories being advertising, dining, office supply stores, and softwares as well. And so one thing I do on multiple of my businesses is I have multiple gold cards, okay? Because I have a lot of expenses on advertising, on dining, and softwares, okay? So you get 4 points per dollar spent up to $150,000 in spend in that calendar year. The Amex
And
business,
advertising, what do you get for advertising?
4 points per dollar spent.
Really, on the gold?
Yes.
Okay, because
It-
I gotta reconstruct some stuff on the Amex Gold.
I'm going to connect you with my relationship manager at American Express. They're going to get you several Amex Business Golds.
Okay,
Yeah.
I like that.
The reason I don't like the Amex Business Platinum is because it's really not a good card to generate rewards. I like generating rewards because I am able to use those points to transfer to airline partners and travel business class all around the world like I've been doing the last 4 years. But the Amex Business Platinum, you get 1 point per dollar spent on most purchases unless you're booking flights through the Amex travel portal, which I don't spend a lot of money on flights because I have so many points and I'm savage with my points so I can get free flights with those points. So the Business Platinum is not a good card to generate rewards. You do get access to the Centurion Lounge, TSA pre-check, but like
It's funny because like I don't know all the rewards like you do, and that's why I go to you for like all the guidance on travel hacks and where to use my points. But like for the folks listening to this that they don't know the point system, like I always thought the business Amex Platinum was great for travel because you have access to all the lounges when you go to travel. And so the girls on my team that they love the Platinum because they can go and sit in these like nice lounges when they do travel. But who makes a good avatar to go with the Platinum versus the Gold? Is there anyone?
the Business Platinum has decent benefits for travel, such as lounge access via Priority Pass and the Centurion Lounge, which is a pretty decent lounge. It does give you global entry, TSA pre-check, but if you have any other travel cards, you get those benefits
And if you're going to
anyways.
fly first class, you got travel lounge access anyways.
Yeah, the only reason I have the Business Platinum is 2 reasons. One, because they keep sending me a mailer targeted offer for a 250,000 point sign-up bonus. So I'll pay $700 annual fee for 250,000 points. That's a really
Every
good
year
deal.
you get to re-up on that?
Dude, they just sent me 2 mailers in the last 4 months, and I was just approved for the recent one three nights ago.
And that's just to renew?
Exactly. No, not to renew. Get a new Business Platinum.
When you say get a new business Platinum or a new business Gold, you mean it's like another entity?
Another credit card account. And so the thing with
Well, under the same entity or different entity?
different. So the thing with sign-up bonuses at American Express is technically they're once in a lifetime. So if you get the sign-up bonus, you can't get it again unless you get a targeted offer by them directly, either in the mail or through the offers section in the Amex portal. And so if I went to the general website and applied for the Amex Business Platinum, I wouldn't get the sign-up bonus because it's not a targeted offer and I've already got the sign-up bonus. But they targeted me, so I got a 250,000 sign-up bonus twice in the last 4 months, which is insane. So to your question about who is a good avatar for this, the only reason I have the Biz Platinum is for the sign-up bonus, like I mentioned. The second reason is because of the lounge access. I don't spend on that card. I do for the sign-up bonus, but after that, I'm not spending anything on that card because there's other cards where I get more points. For example, this is not a good travel card, but this is the Amex Business Plus. So I get 2 points per dollar spent on every dollar. Okay, that's twice as much as spending on the Amex Business Platinum. So I don't use it traveling because there's a foreign transaction fee, but domestically, I'll get 2 points per dollar spent. And then dining, softwares, everything else on the Business Gold.
Hey guys, if you're looking to get into real estate investing, but you're like, hey, I don't have the time, but you want to participate in the passive income, the tax benefits, and the wealth building, my company, Summers Capital, partners with limited partners, people like yourself, and we go out and buy boutique hotels. We have a fund where we currently own 5 hotels, and we currently have a wait list for investors to participate with us. If you want to learn more to see if this is a fit for you, you can go to summerscapital.com/invest to inquire and get on our wait list and be notified next time we have an opportunity. Again, summerscapital.com/invest. Now back to the show. So just to close the loop about, the business Amex Platinum versus the Gold, what percentage of our audience, the audience is mostly business owners, entrepreneurs, real estate investors, what percentage of these folks would be a good fit for the Platinum versus the Gold? Would you say 90-10?
If you spend a lot of money on flights, then the Amex Business Platinum would be a decent card for you. But you would have to book those flights through the Amex portal. If you don't spend a lot of money on flights for business, then I really don't think the Platinum is a good card at all.
Or if you do spend money on flights and you book directly with the airlines, it's not going to help you either.
Correct. If you're booking directly with the airline, you would want to get the Chase Business Inc. Preferred, which gives you actually that card does not give you on travel. No, it does. The Chase Business Inc. Preferred gives you 3x on travel, just not 3x on
Got
dining.
it. So brings me to our next point. We always take 2 weeks off during the holidays out of the office. It's like you got Christmas, New Year's. In the commercial real estate world, which is the business we work in, everything kind of shuts down for a couple weeks during the holidays. So I always give the team a couple weeks out. It's a nice reset. I'll travel. So this last, December 2024, Presley, my girlfriend, and I, we traveled down to Australia, flew business class on Qantas Air, nonstop at LAX to, I believe, Sydney. Yeah, Sydney round trip. Anyways, flew business class, round trip, both of us. Round trip was all covered through the Amex points. And I should have got with you prior to doing this because I ended up taking all of our points throughout the entire year from the business Amex Platinum and the Gold. And it covered the round trip ticket. It was like about a $22,000 ticket if we just bought at retail. And the points covered all of it, which was great. However, knowing what you know, I probably could have transferred all those points from the Amex portal and did a couple different things and really, really maximized my points. So how do you like to maximize points, and what is the proper way to maximize the points when you travel? Just an example like I just did down to Australia.
So if you booked a $22,000 ticket or reservation on the Amex portal with Amex points, that probably did cost 2.2 million points. That is a lot of points to spend on business class travel. Of course, the points are free and fantastic. You got free business class flights, but I like to get a way better redemption when I use my points.
You're getting 5x, sometimes even 10x redemption.
Correct.
And I just got a 1x.
And you got a 1x, exactly. So when you use your
Because I didn't hit up my boy Jack.
You didn't call me. Call me anytime, Rich. When you use your points in the Amex portal, like you mentioned, you get a 1-to-1 ratio. You get a 1x redemption. We don't like 1x redemptions around here. We like 10x, okay? So how you get the 10x redemptions is you can transfer your points from Amex or Chase into different airline currencies, like Alaska Airlines, Delta, all these international airlines. You can transfer the points to those currencies. And then there's better value on the currency directly. And I use several softwares, but one software that has a partnership with American Express is called Point.me.
Okay, what is Point.me?
Point.me is a software where it's a search engine where you can put in the destination that you want to travel to on a specific date, and it will show you where the best deal is, where to transfer the points, maybe from American Express to Qantas or wherever the airline is. It shows you the best deal to use points to book that business class flight. I've been flying business class around the world for the last 4 years, thanks to credit card points and thanks to these amazing deal softwares that help me find these deals.
I love it, dude. That's so big. So,
and actually, real quick, Rich, let me give one example of what I just booked.
Put us on the game, man.
For 3 people from Chicago to Naples, Italy. This was a reservation for 3 people that in total costed 155,000 points or miles, same thing. So I transferred these points and miles from American Express to Hawaiian Airlines. And then I converted those Hawaiian Airline miles into Alaska miles. And I booked this reservation on Alaska Airlines. And instead of spending $15,000 cash, which would be stupid to do, in my opinion, I used my points and it costed 150,000 points. If I booked that same reservation through the Amex portal, it would have cost me 1.5 million points. So I saved over 1.35 million points. And I got a 10x redemption.
That's huge. And for the listeners that aren't aware, Alaska recently acquired Hawaiian Air. And as far as you mentioned before we started recording, this is only good till when?
Yeah, this is a really big point. So one of the best redemptions that I have found over the last 12 months has been on the Alaska Airlines currency. The only way to get bank transferable points, like Amex points, into Alaska is by transferring from Amex to Hawaiian and then converting Hawaiian into Alaska. The thing is, Amex is cutting their partnership with Hawaiian on June 29th. Sunday, June 29th. Correct. And so if you want to get your Amex points into Alaska, which I just sent 400,000 points into Alaska, I might even send more because it's just such a good currency.
So I got a bunch of points accumulated for the first half of 2025 on Amex. Should I take advantage of this?
For sure.
Right after this episode, if I want to fly Alaska?
Dude, no, it's not. Because through airline alliances, you can you can book a lot of different award tickets with points
Okay.
that are in the same
Can
alliance as Alaska.
Okay, so I can fly like
American
international.
Airlines, Austrian Airlines. I mean, there's a huge group of airlines you can fly in this airline currency, Alaska. So after this episode, we're going to sit down. We're going to transfer some of your points from Amex to Hawaiian, convert them to Alaska. I'm going to send more. But again, this ends June 29th. This is a big deal. So we're going to do this for sure.
So we got about 5 days to get this out. Actually, 4 days to get it out. So giddy up. Okay, that's a good hack. Okay, just to be clear, I heard from some of my buddies that are in the aviation industry, Hawaiian's still going to operate as Hawaiian with the same logo, branding, and all that. And they're going to do all the Hawaiian Island type of flights. Alaska's still going to operate as Alaska, even though it's all under Alaska Air. But the point system, transfer your Amex. Can you transfer the Chase too?
So Chase does not have a partnership with Hawaiian or
What about BOFA?
Alaska. Okay, so here's the issue with Bank of America. The only banks that have transferable bank points is Chase, American Express, Citi, Capital One, and Wells Fargo. Okay. Bank of America points suck because you can't transfer them to any airlines. They're non-transferable. Same with US Bank. So I don't care at all to earn Bank of America or US Bank points because I can't transfer them. They're stuck in the bank portal with only a 1x valuation. Crap. So I like to accumulate bank transferable points at Chase, American Express, Wells Fargo, Capital One, Citi. And then you can transfer those points.
Got it. Okay. So Amex or the ones you mentioned to Hawaiian Air, to Alaska. Once they're with Alaska, you can use them with Alaska or you can use it with any of the alliances, which includes some international stuff potentially as well, which is the hack. And get it in by June 29th. So you guys got 4 days of the date of this recording. I love it. Okay. Next up, I want to switch gears here and just talk briefly on personal credit cards. The Wells Fargo autograph the Wells Fargo autograph collection. Break down this credit card.
Yeah, the Wells Fargo autograph journey, I love it as a travel card. It's actually my favorite personal travel credit card. It used to be the Chase Sapphire Reserve or the Preferred. They're decent cards. They have a lot of benefits, but the annual fee on the Reserve was just increased to just about $800.
What does that mean when you say that?
The annual fee, the Chase Sapphire Reserve.
Okay, got it. It's called the Reserve card.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chase Sapphire Reserve, the annual fee they increased it to $800. The Wells Fargo autograph journey is a really good rewards card. You not only get a 60,000 point sign-up bonus, but you get, I think it's 5x on hotels, 4x on airlines, and 3x on everything other in travel and dining as well. And you can go directly with the airline, directly with the hotel, so you don't have to go through the portal. And why this is actually a big deal as of several months ago is because Wells Fargo used to have non-transferable bank points, but now you can transfer those Wells Fargo points to different airlines. There's less airlines you can transfer them to relative to American Express or Chase, but there's still some pretty good transfer partners from Wells Fargo. So the annual fee is only, I think, $95, and it's just a great rewards card.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, that's really good. All right, so moving on to the next thing, I'm curious here. You've showered on 2 commercial airlines now. There's a couple airlines that you can shower on. These are commercial airlines, and you've personally took showers on both of these airlines. Break down the difference. What are the pros and cons, and which of these airlines can you actually take a commercial shower on? I think it's pretty unique.
Yeah, so there's 2 commercial flights you can take showers on in the first class experience. One is Etihad. The second is Emirates first class. Okay, so I've flown both of these. They're both a very unique experience. The Etihad first class experience, the suite itself is much bigger. So there's a huge couch in your suite, and there's a throne bigger than this chair. It's absolutely ridiculous. They're bringing caviar and pancakes and ice cream.
Before your shower?
Before the shower.
Damn.
And steak and salmon and lobster. It's basically all you can eat. It's ridiculous. There's also a lounge that can fit like 6 to 8 people where you can, drink as much Dom Perignon as you want, etc. And then when it comes to the shower, you get 5 minutes of hot water, but you book it for 30 minutes. So I recommend make the first reservation, but for later in the flight. Because you want to enjoy the flight.
The 5 minutes of hot water is because they will run out of water. They only have so much water on the plane.
In 5 minutes, it's
that's
enough,
good. Yeah, that
sure.
makes sense. Because when we go, you take the boat to Catalina, we only bring so many gallons of fresh water. So it's not like you're gonna sit there and just take a 30-minute shower. I get that. Okay. So I always wonder what is it like taking a shower on a commercial flight?
Dude, it's ridiculous. I mean, you're 35,000 feet in the air. You've just been possibly drinking some Dom Perignon and ate some lobster and steak and caviar. And hopefully you have your either significant other or a friend with you just laughing your ass off the whole time.
Could you take that shower with your significant other?
Okay, so here's where it gets interesting with the Emirates first class. If you look above the door, it says capacity is 2 people. I don't think they technically allow 2 people,
But they wouldn't look
but
if you rolled
I
in
think
there.
it's a don't look situation. You
Yeah.
can make it happen.
Don't ask, don't tell.
So the Emirates shower, it's a bigger bathroom. It's a bigger bathroom than Etihad. You have the shower in both, but the Emirates bathroom is much bigger, so it's more comfortable. Emirates first class relative to Etihad first class, it also has a super big lounge in the back. It's like a bar, full-on lounge that can fit like 40 people. Okay, and this is on the Emirates, or this is on the aircraft, the A380. So it's a double-decker plane. So with Emirates,
I flew the same with Qantas Air
yeah,
to Sydney both ways, and it was a double-decker A380. We were sitting business, which is up top, and then the first class was in the front end of the bottom, and then in the very front, they had a staircase where it connects the first class and the business class. But I'm sure Emirates is laid out a little bit nicer.
yeah, I'm pretty sure first class is upstairs on both.
Got it. So Qantas is the other way. Oh, really?
I'm pretty. I mean, I don't.
I'm dead positive. At least the ones that I flew on Qantas.
No, it is.
It was business was upstairs, and like basically the whole top was business, and then the bottom was like 70% economy, and then the bottom third was first.
Interesting. I know Etihad, it's upstairs because there's this huge grand staircase, and I remember walking up to it to these suites. It's ridiculous. But with Emirates first class, you get the bigger restroom. The suite is smaller than Etihad, but then you get the bigger lounge in the back.
And what goes on in that lounge in the back?
You get free drinks, free Dom Perignon. I even was up there one time, and they gave me a bottle of it, and I started shaking it, and I popped the top, and the cork hit the roof.
In the flight?
I won't include this video to show you guys. In the flight, yeah.
Damn, that's too funny, bro.
Yeah,
That's
and
too
I
funny.
booked the Etihad first class for only 65,000 miles from London to Abu Dhabi. I think it was like an 8-ish hour flight, if not mistaken. And one thing I'll mention about American Airline miles is there's no bank you can transfer points from into American Airlines, which makes American Airline miles super, super valuable. So the only ways to generate American Airline miles is through sign-up bonuses on their credit cards, or just by spending on an American Airlines credit card. Or you can also purchase American Airline miles, and sometimes there's big promotions where like 50% off, where it can make sense to actually buy American Airline miles. But Alaska is also another valuable currency, and because they're cutting off that partnership with American Express through Hawaiian, Alaska is going to get much more scarce and valuable as well, just because you can't transfer the bank points into these currencies.
Yeah. Okay, so for someone listening to this, if they want to go take a shower on an airplane, Etihad or Emirates, which one's better?
I would do Etihad first class, and if you want the best deal, I would look on the calendar on the either the American Airlines. I booked it on the American Airlines website with American Airline miles because they're in the same alliance from London, LHR, London Heathrow, to Abu Dhabi, AUH. So I found it for 65,000 points. So between the two, I would do Etihad first class. I had more fun on it.
What city is Etihad out of? Like, where's their base? What country is that?
I think Qatar, somewhere in the Middle East.
Qatar. Okay, that makes sense. And then Emirates is whatchamacallit?
Emirates
Dubai,
is
Abu Dhabi. It's the
UAE.
AU.
Yeah.
What is it again?
UAE.
UAE. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
And one crazy Emirates flight I took was we all sat in business class. It was a group of 25 of us, and we were going on a business
That's a big
mastermind
group, bro.
trip.
That's a big group.
It was a big group, and most of us were sitting in business class, some of us in first class on the A380. So we get on this plane. We're all having a blast. We start in the first class or the business class lounge at Emirates in JFK, New York, and then we were flying to Milan to do some snowboarding in the French Alps. And so like the 25 of us on this Emirates A380, we all go to the back of the plane because Emirates has this nice bar. And so we're just in the back, not intentionally, but making a good bit of noise because there are 25 people talking. And they said, you guys need to be quiet. But we were having a pretty good time to have that many people together in a bar, 35,000 feet in the sky.
Damn, that's so sick, dude. I love that. I love that. Okay, so speaking of travel, you travel to Europe every single summer on credit card points. Chase, Hyatt, what's the best hack for someone listening to this that want to go to Europe this summer and fly completely free and maximize their travel points?
Yeah. So when it comes to credit card points and booking hotels, you get the best value by far by using Chase points to transfer to Hyatt and then using your Hyatt points to book the hotels. I
Say
have
that one more
found
time.
it's the best use to transfer your Chase credit card points over to Hyatt. So Chase has an exclusive partnership with Hyatt.
And I have a Chase Hyatt card. So how would
Okay.
that work?
So when you have a co-branded card like that, Chase Hyatt, when you spend on it, you're earning Hyatt points. When you have a Chase Inc.
Yeah, I've
preferred,
never paid to stay at a Hyatt before. Every time I stay at a Hyatt, like I never like count the points that accumulate. But I do know like I've had this card for like a long time, and every time I stay at a Hyatt, it's always comps.
perfect.
Even if it's a Grand Hyatt and some of the nicer ones, it's always
Yeah,
comps.
just from the points you earn on the card.
Yeah, or like sometimes if I travel like with a videographer, he'll have his own comp room as well.
From the points.
Yeah,
Nice. Yeah, perfect.
and a lot of times I just like roll up to the front desk the night of, and I won't even have a reservation. That's just how I roll, and they'll comp every
Wow.
time.
Booked on the points, you're saying?
Yeah, through the points on the Chase Hyatt
Yeah,
card.
yeah, yeah.
So
Perfect.
I don't know how it all works,
Mhm.
but I do know that it works.
Yeah. And so, like, where I try to find the best deals when it comes to points from Chase to Hyatt is I want to get at least a 3x return on my points. What I mean by that is, so if you have 30,000 points, that's on a 1-to-1 ratio, that's worth about $300. Okay. I want to use 30,000 points to book a $900 hotel. Okay. So that's at 3x, right? You get less good deals on hotels than with flights. Like the other example I gave on flights, I got a 10x redemption. I don't think you can get a 10x redemption on hotel bookings, but with Chase to Hyatt, I looked for
3x is
ideally a
good.
3x.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now with airlines, the threshold for you is at least 5x, or are you trying to get 10x every time?
It is minimum 3. If it's not 3x, like 3 times the value of the points, then I'm going to pay cash because I want to save my points for 5x redemptions, 7x, 8x, 10x. The most I got was a 12x.
Okay. So if someone listening to this, they're like, hey, I want to maximize my trip to Europe this summer, you're going to say go Chase to Hyatt, and then from Hyatt, what?
Yeah, so to maximize your efforts and your credit card points for summer travel, I would save your Chase points to transfer to Hyatt. But before you transfer, you want to find the deals on the Hyatt website. Go to the calendar view, go to Greece. I like to use the points. I've used them before in Santorini. And, go to the calendar view and find the best deals. And ideally, you want to make it a 3x redemption. And then for airline travel, I would use the flight searching tool that Amex partnered with, Point Me, to find business class flights from wherever you're trying to go to wherever you're trying to go. Your
What was
destination.
the Amex program that was like the Amex Wheels Up Travel that is no longer around? What was that all about?
Yeah, the Amex Wheels Up program was a private jet membership. It was pretty epic. I had it for a year, and basically, if you had the business platinum, you could get a discount to the membership. I think it was like a 50% discount. So I think I got the membership for $10,000 for private jet empty legs, and I split it with 3 other friends. So it costed me $2,500. And then if there's an empty leg going from different destinations, you can book it for just literally a couple $100s. And so I remember one experience that I had with, I did it with my mom and brother. It was leaving Salt Lake City going up to Jackson Hole, and it was a huge jet. It fit like 8 to 10 people plus the pilots. And I got the notification, and I was like, boom, booked it for, I think it was either like $100 or something stupid cheap. And then I just had this private jet with my mom and brother up to Jackson Hole for the weekend.
That's so cool, man. There was SetJet that used to be around. This was a competitor like JSX, but a little bit nicer. I mean, they would have these like 50 passenger like CRJs, CRJ 70, CRJ 700, CRJ 900, where traditionally some of the airlines, the regionals, will put like 50 seats in these, but they would like deck them out where it was not commercial at all, and they would have like sofas. It was all executive, like totally like murdered out luxury. And I joined. It was not a bad membership. I think it was only like $99 a month, and then you pay for the actual legs. And so They go to like Scottsdale, Phoenix, Vegas, San Diego, Orange County, San Francisco, kind of like the Western stuff, like the major airports. So we flew two of us to Scottsdale. And on the way out there was like us and maybe like 5 or 6 other passengers that were paying. It was still plenty of room. But on the way back from Scottsdale to San Diego, the stewardess was like, hey, you guys are the only ones on the flight. And so we had like our own freaking private jet. It is a big ass jet. Just the two of us
How much was
on
the
the way
leg?
back. And so talk about empty leg, like that was just us. It was almost like our own private jet. It was like, I want to say it was $900 a person each way. So $1,800 for two of us from Scottsdale to San Diego. And I was like, I remember thinking right when I got off that flight, like, damn, this is a great deal. But I'm like, I don't know how they're making money. And sure enough, like 2 weeks later, I get an email from SetJet and they said, hey, due to some business funding and lack of capital, we ultimately are closing the doors. But thank you so much for, being a part of it. And they shut doors. They went out of business. And I only got to take advantage for one flight, dude. I was a member for about a month and I was like, man, this is the greatest thing ever. But it didn't work out.
Too bad it busted, man.
Dude, it's hard to make money with the airlines. I think Richard Branson, he's got Virgin Air. Donald Trump tried to make it work. It's very, very hard to turn a profit with the airlines. As a matter of fact, a lot of the major airlines, like they've been bailed out by the government a lot of times, right? And so it's like, if these majors can't figure it out, it's very tough for like a private group to kind of come in without the backing of the federal government to really make it work.
Yeah, tough
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
At least you got one flight.
Yeah. At
And
least we got.
at least I got 2 on my membership.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You definitely one up me. Any other big stuff that we didn't cover here? I want to make sure that we're dropping all the drips out here in the game out here for the audience.
I just think for early stage entrepreneurs or someone that's maybe not making $1 million in annual revenue quite yet, I think what I advocate the most is learning how to get access to capital through 0% interest business credit cards is the biggest hack in business that I have found, because you don't need the tax returns, the proof of income, and it becomes very straightforward to get approved for a couple $100,000. And it's like, even if you're a real estate investor or you're looking to scale your coaching business or your restaurant, whatever it is, like if you had $100,000 you can borrow for free for a year, how much
Quicker.
how much more money can you make? How many more deals can you do? And so that's how I help people legally and ethically take advantage of the banks to get these types of credit products at limits like this. And I think to create the most freedom in your life, you first need a service or a product that benefits other people's lives. And then you need to learn how to access capital to scale the business to a certain level where you then can put in certain systems to automate as many of the tasks as you can. And then you need to hire people and delegate other tasks to those people to manage the business. And then you can create some pretty epic freedom in your life.
Yeah, financial freedom.
And then at this point, if you use business credit, now you have a ton of credit card points, and now you can use some advanced travel hacking strategies to get free business class flights anywhere in the world, and you can just live an absolutely amazing life. And
I
that's
love
kind
it.
of what I've been doing.
That's a good takeaway. I think 2 key takeaways for me, like you just alluded to, leverage. If you're listening to this and you're a business owner, a real estate investor, you got to learn the game of leverage. Leverage is, us having a conversation right now. In the old days, before social media, before podcasts and technology, you and I would meet and have this 1-hour conversation like we are now in a coffee shop, and only one person would hear it. You would hear it, and then I would hear it. I guess 2 people would hear it. But now we can have this conversation with a podcast, and now we chop it up. It goes out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. We chop up the shorts. It goes out on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. And now potentially millions of people will see this 1-hour conversation. That's a form of leverage. The other form of leverage is capital, right? Using 0% business credit cards, using 0% business funding, using the bank's money to go buy real estate. That's a form of leverage, right? And whenever we use leverage, we get a multiple and it juices the returns. And so you got to learn the game of leverage. And then the last thing I would say is hiring a team. You just alluded to it. It's like, how many solopreneurs out there are terrified to go spend money to go hire someone? They don't want to delegate. They don't want to hire. And it's like, well, if you're afraid to hire, you're never going to scale. That is the mom and pop mentality. So you got to learn the game of leverage. The other key takeaway is get with someone like Jack and learn the game of travel points, business credit. Don't do what I did. And that's, going and flying Qantas, dropping $22,000 worth of, retail value FaceTime points to go buy that business class, a round trip flight to Australia and back. Go get with Jack, learn the game the right way so you guys can focus on growing your business, not working in the business. Anything else to add?
Yeah, to follow up on that, Rich, is I like to help people leverage other people's money, like we've been talking about, leveraging other people's time, like you just suggested, hire people, delegate tasks to. And I also like to piggyback on that, leverage other people's experience. And something I've learned from a recent mentor of mine I learned from him, let your network solve your problems. Okay, so you and me, we're in these high-level mastermind groups, and when people like us, we have problems, we ask our network, we ask our friends who have experience, and we get connected with people really quick because there's other connections that people can make for us if we have a problem. Okay, so leveraging other people's experience and let your network solve your problems. So when I needed a videographer, when I needed a new email marketer, I posted in one of my mastermind group chats, and within 5 minutes, I got an introduction to someone that's pre-vetted, that has good experience, and it just solved my problem so quick. So put yourself in rooms and in groups with people that have good experience and leverage other people's experience to have your network solve your problems for you.
So good. I always say get in rooms where your dreams are others' realities. It's the quickest way to shortcut your path from point A to point B and level up. And I also say stop listening to people closest to you, friends, family members, friends, coworkers, because often those are the naysayers, and often those people have never done what it is you're looking to do. So stop listening to people closest to you and start listening to people closest to your goals. Quickest way to improve your life. And so very important to get in the right rooms, get around people that are actually doing the thing that you're looking to do. And this falls for anything. It's not just business credit. It's not just real estate. It's all aspects of life. Get in rooms where people are doing the thing that you're looking to do. That's the quickest way to level up and shortcut your path from point A to point B. Jack McColl, dude, I appreciate you coming on, man. Super stoked to be speaking at our mastermind event out in Tulum this October. Where can the folks get in touch with you if they want to learn more about any of your stuff that you're doing, the business credit, travel hacks, all that good stuff?
Yeah, I really appreciate it, Rich. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. My Instagram is Jack McColl, or if you're interested to work with me on some business funding strategies or even the travel hacking strategies, it's creditstacking.com. We just launched our Credit Stacking 2.0 program. It's the best, most refined strategies on business funding the world has ever seen. It's a really badass program. And we just launched it for the first 50 people. We're doing a 50% discount. So by the time you watch this video, book a call and see if that discount is still available. And even if it's not, say you came from Rich's podcast, and we'll see what we can do about hooking you up.
DM you on Instagram? What's the best way?
Creditstacking.com.
Creditstacking.com.
Book
Okay.
a call with my team. You'll speak with Daniel probably.
Yep. And
let's
also,
get going.
go follow Jack on Instagram. Puts out a lot of good content, banger content. Jack and I have had some viral clips, plenty of viral clips. Jack McColl, that's MCCOLL. And go hit him up on my Instagram. Give him a little love. He's Jack McColl, always looking fresh, my man. I got to come out and visit you in Utah here sometime soon, and I'm going to see you in Tulum in a few months. I'm Rich Summers. Listeners, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.